Hello, welcome to Fresh HQ. I'm going to give you a few tips today about how to get your inner leg seams to match on the Vintie Overalls, but this applies really to any curved inner leg seam that you're using on your patterns. First thing you need to make sure you do is when you're finishing off the curve, particularly on the back but also on the front of your Vinties, you need to make sure that you're following the curve the whole way with your 1/2 inch seam allowance. So as you go around, I suggest slowing right down near the end and making sure you are exactly right all the way up to the end. Little differences can make a big difference. Little mistakes can make a big difference at the end. So making sure you follow all the way to the end. That's tip number one. Tip number two. Once you've got them both sewn, this is the inner leg seam. If I'm holding them up here just laid together, it looks like they don't match. So the first thing you're thinking is probably, I need to chop that off to match, but don't, please don't. First thing to do is to match the middle. So match the seam, not the edges. So the seam matches, and pin it. Next thing you need to do is to pin the edges so that they're perfect on both sides. Forget about the middle, don't worry if it looks like it's not going to match, just pin it. Have blind faith. Then, because of this strong curve here, it's actually cut on the bias, so it's got a bit of give. So give it a little bit of a tug so that it sits right. Pin it again, so you're following around the curve as closely as you can, and as you can see now, it's a perfect match. Do the same on the other side and we're done. So what looked like a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch out either way is actually a perfect seam once you know the technique. So that's how to do it without the snaps. But what if you have a snap panel? Oh my goodness, how are we going to do that? One I prepared earlier. So just pretend this is hemmed. I was too lazy to do it. First apply the snap panel to the front piece, because that doesn't have as strong of a curve, so it's much easier. This little triangle here, don't worry about that. So you've got it attached to the front. Then grab your back snap panel piece and lay it down on top. And you're going to mark where your hem is on each side. So pop a little mark there. This pen's not great, so I'm going to use a pin. And then on the other side too, right here where the edge is, pop a pin in. Oops, I pinned both. Okay, now get rid of the front one and bring your back one in. And then we're going to pin one edge where this pin is, one where the other pin is, so we know they're going to match. And then pin your middle seam, and just like you did before, make the curve fit. There we go. Now if you sew that with your 1/2 inch seam allowance, you, my friends, will have perfectly matching snap panels on your Vinties. I hope that helps. While I'm here actually, I may as well show you how to do the snap panel, because that sometimes causes confusion. So you've got your snap panel, you've sewn it on with 1/2 inch seam. This is not real Vinties, by the way, so this is not my combination of fabrics. So I don't get teased here. So once you've sewn it on with your 1/2 inch seam allowance and you've got 1/2 inch sewn up at the bottom here, fold it down so that it matches, so that this fold at the bottom matches the seam line below. Then right at the edge here, you're going to sew a line straight down here so it meets your hem. We're pretending this is a hem still. So sewing down, so it meets perfectly. You'll do the same on the other side. So fold it down so that the folded edge matches. And then so you want to make sure that your stitch line is going to meet perfectly at the edge here. If this is bigger than half an inch, less than half an inch, don't worry, as long as it meets perfectly here, because we trim the rest anyway. So clip your corners and the other side, but I won't bother doing it. And then you're just going to turn it right sides out. Once you've done that, you're going to press it. And I'm not going to do that because my iron's not on, but you'll press it down so that this fold that you created matches that stitch line. Matches or hides, whatever you prefer. And once you've pressed that, you're then going to sew along this line. So you'll have a beautiful, perfect snap panel. I hope that helps. See you later, everyone.